All right, so time to talk about the Oscars.
Ooh, I love the Oscars.
We will have a debate
gay, I love
in a
the
minute,
Oscars.
but today's going to be a little bit different because instead of just specific stories, we actually thought we would go through the top 2019 nominations for Best Picture. Is that what it's called? Best
Yeah, we
movie?
watched them. We have opinions.
We watched almost all of them, and we have very strong opinions on some of these.
Okay.
Some are different,
yes,
some are the same.
Some of these movies were trash. Okay, so
yeah.
let's go in order of us how we actually saw them, because as a couple, we saw most of them together.
That's true.
So the first one we would have saw was the blockbuster Black Panther, nominated for Best Picture, directed by Ryan Coogler, who I love. So I personally, again, as I just said, love Ryan Coogler, the director. He made this movie called Fruitvale Station, which is so good.
I still haven't seen that.
I've been wanting you to watch it. It's on Netflix. It literally takes place over a day.
That's so bad that I haven't seen that.
Why?
It's like so easy for me to watch that.
No, I know. When everything's on I'm always like, it's on Netflix, like, you're lazy. Such a great movie. He also made Creed, which I watched like with my friend once because he wanted to watch it. I'm like, ugh, eye roll. This is going to be so dumb. Never seen Rocky. Okay, yeah. Okay, come for me, straights. I've never seen Rocky. I obviously don't know anything about movies. I've never seen Rocky.
But you loved it, didn't you?
I loved Creed, and the fight.
You should go back and watch all the Rockies.
But okay,
be like
the reason,
inspired.
but I don't know if I would love Rocky. I just based on like the trailer, I don't know if I'd love Rocky. But the reason I loved Rocky was this, like, the way the fight scenes were insane. They never cut, and he uses this cinematographer named Maurice Alberti and Rachel Morrison, both female cinematographers, for Creed, for Fruitvale Station. He has these like crazy scenes where he never cuts, which I loved. And the thing that bothered me about Black Panther is I didn't find they used that
Like
enough.
he didn't use that technique, which is like really effective that he's used in the past.
Yeah, they used it in that first fight scene in Black Panther when they're in the bar kind of thing. Like,
I can't forget. It was so long ago I watched this.
Oh, like it's like one of the first main fight scenes when there's like the like evil white guy there with like the money, and like she has the like spear, and it's like so effective. And I was like, this is gonna be the best movie ever. But I found as it went on and on, they kind of lost that like magical, like not cutting cinematography momentum, and all the fight scenes, in my opinion, became just like normal. Did you just burp?
I don't know. Something weird happened in my throat. I'm sorry.
Anyway, so I liked Black Panther. I didn't love Black Panther.
I would say like the same thing kind of happens to me every time I go into a Marvel film that's been hyped.
That's true.
What it is like you see, oh my God, this movie has 95% on Rotten Tomatoes, and your mind goes, whoa, this is so exciting. Like to combine an amazing action, huge blockbuster with the potential for a great story and like feeling captivated by characters is really exciting to me. And then almost every single time I go in to any of these Marvel films, the same thing happens where I go, that was really fun, but like that wasn't that good of a movie.
Like the superhero tropes take over sometimes.
Yeah, and you can tell that even these amazing directors are kind of like forced to go into that box because it's a huge risk. They spend so much money. Like the producers or whoever's funding it is like, you actually have to listen to us.
Actually, Black Panther is so good when you think about it from the perspective of a Marvel movie.
It did, but in some ways it still had those tropes.
Yeah.
And I think because my expectations were so high, like I think going out of it, I really enjoyed it. I had fun. It stood out
and
to
Black
me
excellence to the max.
Yeah, and it stood out from other Marvel films for me. But at the end of the day, and like a year later or however long it's been now, I can say it was overhyped to that degree where it's like there are other films on this list that to me I was like, whoa, I have not seen movies like this, and it's done something amazing to me
and
emotionally.
Also, like literally, we're not black. Like if you think about that type of movie being made from like a queer perspective,
if it was all
like
gay
literally just like
characters,
an unapologetically queer action movie, you would just be like, okay, this is it actually is incredible from the actual thought and like idea behind it being made.
I thought
and
it was
made the
amazing
most effing money. Like that like gets me so excited. And the music was incredible. Like Kendrick Lamar's like
I don't mean to disparage it in any way.
No, but it's the same thing
still
that I have
just a category of film.
Every superhero movie. I'm always like, oh God, like I just don't like these types of movies. Like Fruitvale Station was it was like experimental. It took place over one day. Like those types of interesting things when they work, I'm like, that's cool, but it's like you're right. Millions of dollars at stake. They have to do certain things. Anyways, it was better. Black Panther was a lot better than a lot of these other movies in this category. Including our next one. Speaking of like queer canon, it's like I really thought I was going to love this, but I'm like, this movie sucks. A Star is Born.
Okay. No, don't say this movie sucks.
Why?
Do you actually think it sucks?
Okay.
Maybe I agree.
Kind of like, it's the hype thing. Like everyone at TIFF's like, oh my God, this masterpiece. And I'd never seen the original one, so I didn't know it had to like follow this plot that's ridiculous. But okay, I don't know. Is suck a strong word?
No, it's not. I think that the first, and we've kind of talked about this, like the first 20, 30 minutes, I was like, I'm into this.
Okay,
like,
I was stoned, so I'm like, was it because I was
no,
stoned?
but I was not, and
okay.
I was like, okay, I'm feeling that like Willem and Shangela are in this. I'm loving the drag scene. Right, they were both in it, right?
Yeah, Mitch,
you scared me. You gave me a look.
Oh
like
my God.
You were like. And I was like, did I just say the wrong drag queen's names? Okay.
I just have a
Love
resting
that.
dumb
I was
face.
like, okay, I get instantly that it's still a Hollywood film. It's going to be a little bit cheesy, but
it was like the Italian family, like Lady Gaga was being
right.
funny. It was like
and
good.
I was like, already
energy.
the music, I'm kind of into it. The music's not overly cheesy. Leading up to the main song of the film, like
Shallow was great. Turn it off.
I was like,
turn it off after Shallow.
Shivers
Yeah,
into
great.
this, but then. It just becomes the most boring movie I've ever seen.
And there's 2 extra hours.
Yeah,
and
I'm
you're like, what?
That you already hit the climax, and now I have to watch for another 2 hours.
And it was so serious. It's like, this is actually hilarious. When Alec Baldwin says, ladies and gentlemen, Allie, I'm like, that's comedic genius, but I know you're actually being serious.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. My biggest issues with A Star is Born. 1, what genre of music is the man supposed to represent that is so popular
and so artistically
artistic and smart? It's like it's like
credible,
bad
versus
alternative
she's
rock.
pitched as like, oh, the pop is just awful.
It's like they were making fun of pop music. I'm like, this pop music is way higher brow than whatever like
agreed.
And whatever music he was making, he walks into a gay bar and they're all like, oh my God, it's that famous guy.
And I was like, how'd this crossover happen?
Yeah, it's like he looked like that. Okay, to me it sounds like Kings of Leon or something. It's like if the lead singer of Kings of Leon walked into a gay bar, no one would bat an eyelash. They would just be like, oh, there's an alternative gay guy here.
Yeah.
But they were all like, whoa, it's him. So that was just unrealistic and dumb to me. The whole moral around the music of it, it's supposed to be about a movie about music. I'm like, this makes no sense.
And it was kind of bizarre in the sense that Lady Gaga represents that, and she's always kind of been like, pop is highbrow. I'm going to make pop highbrow. And I know this is a movie and she's playing a character, but someone mentioned once that it would have been more interesting if they actually made her music. Like, why did it have to be bad?
Yeah, like, why did you do that?
And I mean, like, catchy song, but I mean, like, in the eyes of the people in the movie, they were all like, this music's bad, but it's like, it would be interesting if it was like, no, she's actually making amazing music and he's having a hard time dealing with her fame.
And exactly. And also, okay, wow, this is how I know it's a bad movie, because I'm like, I can just keep talking. And remember when at the end, it's like the manager comes between them as if they have this amazing relationship.
Strongest
and
relationship.
And they're like, so, like, okay, yeah, wow, he has daddy issues, I guess. And like, she, like, I don't know, like, they like try and build them up a little bit, but they're communicating, they're in love.
And they never really have a problem in their relationship.
There's no issue. It's like, why would this manager's like one sentence cause you to literally, spoiler alert, but whatever, you don't need to, like, kill yourself? It's like, no, talk, have a conversation, because you're clearly in love and you clearly talk all the time.
And they pulled the trick of like using the dog.
Remember? Oh yeah, like what's that called?
This,
dog tragedy porn?
I don't know. It's like, yeah, the dog was that actually is what made me feel emotional. I was like, you cheated and you used a dog being sad about its owner dying.
Also, like, Bradley Cooper, you're so effing creepy to like direct a movie where you're like ripped and hot and have no problems and like are a flawless person.
That's true. His only problem was his like
are a martyr for your wife and then like die.
Yeah.
And also, alcoholics don't have ripped bodies like that. Then put just like anyway, so bad.
Fair.
But
I think that overall. We obviously like have some feelings. I feel that people want to,
as a gay man, I was betrayed
because I was proud of Lady Gaga. I'm like, for somebody, it's her first debut acting role. Not that I think she necessarily deserved Best Actress, but I was like,
and get
good,
some
good
humbleness. Now she's just like,
there
she
can
goes,
be
I'm crying.
100 people in a room.
But she's always crying, and she's like, "Oh my God, I want to coat and blah, blah, blah." It's like, stop crying, like, relax. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, you're overreacting. If you just watch this movie again, you might be like, oh wait, it's really not that interesting.
Right.
But I will say it's divided the nation, because when I watched
the gay nation.
Well, no, this person is gay, but is a lesbian. But when I was sitting next to one of my best friends at the end of this movie, when Lady Gaga's single tear falls down her cheek as she sings a Whitney Houston song or whatever, I started laughing. My friend beside me uncontrollably sobbing her eyes out. I'm like, I'm dead inside. I literally laughed out loud. And my other friend, because every gay person in Toronto was there opening night on a Tuesday, was like, I heard you laugh, like, at like the most like awful time. But I was like, there's nothing but humor that I can find in this moment, because it's so
like over the top,
just
like contrived.
Okay, wow.
Okay, very strong feelings came out about A Star Is Born.
Surprised I had to even talk about that movie. Next, we have what we saw
I'm going to quickly mention that there are 2 we did not see.
Okay. Yeah, well, why are we talking about
I just want to say, so we're not going to look at Green Book and Vice because we didn't see those ones.
So I've heard just so many bad things. And after seeing Bohemian Rhapsody, which we'll get to later, which everyone had said bad things about, I'm like, I can't watch these movies that everyone said bad things about. Green Book sounds so
which
bad.
one was the next one that we watched?
Roma.
So
now we will change the tone for this masterpiece.
Roma was amazing.
Amazing. Okay, so my favorite director is Alfonso Cuarón, who directed this movie. So I went in, like with Black Panther and A Star Is Born, with very high expectations. So I want to preface that.
But did we know what kind of reviews they were getting before?
I did. It was the same thing out of Toronto.
Like people saying it's
everyone's
amazing,
saying it's so good. The same thing as A Star Is
also,
Born.
loved that we watched it on Netflix.
Yeah, I didn't see it, even though people say because of the shots it's worth seeing in theaters. I would have been happy to see it in theaters, but I also was like, that's cool. I'm into this idea of launching a film. Okay, so Alfonso Cuarón, back to not cutting and just designing scenes. He also uses a cinematographer that he's famous for who doesn't cut, and I'm like, this is the most effective. I don't know anything about filming whatever cinematography, but it works.
It does.
In Children of Men, the best action movie of all time, he has a scene where he doesn't cut, and I tell people about this all the time.
Multiple scenes actually.
But the final battle scene or action scene is I don't know. It's the most unbelievable thing I've seen, and he uses that in this movie. A very emotional, serious. There's no action in this movie, but it gives that same effect.
And it gives you the appreciation of they're actually acting all in this moment and coordinating. It's like a dance with the cameras and the actors. And I find that fascinating because then it's more like a play. And I feel like it gives the actors a chance to have an entire scene.
And be in it.
Instead of here, let's just record these couple of lines only facing on you. It's no, everyone's involved. The whole crew, the whole cast, go. And that's cool to me.
Okay, it was just the most beautiful story. It was so moving. And I remember a lot of people talk about, it's black and white. We even said, are we in the mood for this?
That was a red flag for me, yeah.
But you think, it's foreign, it's going to have subtitles, and people think it's going to be boring. But remember, 5 minutes in, we just looked at each other and we're like, I'm so into
how does
this.
the movie... It's amazing. So contrasting a Marvel film, we can use Black Panther as an example here, but just any Marvel film in general... often what I find lacking is that true character connection. But then you see a movie like Roma and you're like, how come in 5 minutes I can be so connected to these characters, but after an entire 2 hours of a Marvel film...
I'd say A Star Is Born. Black Panther, I thought, actually did an amazing job of you carrying in a Marvel film. I guess I more just mean,
I've always thought... I'm always wondering why, sci-fi specifically has a hard... Sci-fi to me, struggles with character connection because it's so conceptually based.
Yeah.
And then I wondered if that bleeds into, action and Marvel films
Men was sci-fi.
That's true. But I'm picturing, space... a lot of space movies that I love, I don't love for their character development. I love because the concept and the visuals and that sort of thing. But... then you see a movie like this and you're like, why can't a Marvel film or why can't a sci-fi film take 5 minutes to build a character that this film was able to do by just being simple, showing us the intricacies of their life that's nuanced. It's not, I can never remember this word, but it's not when you literally just say, instead of
show, don't
us,
tell.
Yeah.
That's what you're supposed to do is show, don't tell. But some movies tell, don't show. For Bohemian Rhapsody, the worst movie.
So Roma, and it's a simple story. It's not overly complex, but it's very interesting.
And so, it's about the director's, as a kid, relationship with the person who helped look after his family in Mexico City. It's obviously a tale of love for this person who is so endearing in the movie and such a brilliant actress who'd never acted before.
Yeah, that blows my mind when people are in films and then they're they found them on the street. They had never acted
before. It makes me feel a little bit when people are I won this Oscar. I'm like, okay, I guess anyone could do that. I know that's so rude, but I'm everyone's so obsessed with acting. I'm it's not that hard.
Right.
There's harder things to do. I don't know, physics. Anyways, but she's the most amazing actress in this movie. So is the mom. What I think is so important is that in other movies, they would have treated the mom character as mean or rude, and that would be the tension. But no, when this caretaker comes to her in times of need, the mom is vulnerable and open, and they work together to help each other fight off essentially patriarchal issues in their lives men, and
it's just so layered,
so smart.
It's she can be good and bad at the same time. Every character can do things where you think they're going to be set up as the bad person, but then you're wait, no,
that's not
you're
life.
A human being.
You're a human being.
And I think that's why a film like this can be so incredible, because it's based on Alfonso Cuarón's life growing up, right? I think it's a personal experience to him. He saw the nuance in the characters before he created this, and I feel then the actresses and actors understand that. And there's so much more realness to it.
And it's not boring.
You're a
There's
human.
so much thing happening. Like, you're learning about the history of Mexico. The final scene is like a literal climax. Like, it's just the most brilliant movie. And when you put it beside something like A Star Is Born, or more importantly, like the other worst movies in my opinion, like Bohemian Rhapsody, it's like, I honestly am like offended that Bohemian Rhapsody has to sit beside this movie that was so thoughtful and like. Anyways, Alfonso Cuarón's a genius. Watch E! I said this recently. Someone was like, watch Y Tu Mamá También. I'm like, there's nothing more pretentious than being like, oh, have you seen Y Tu Mamá También?
No, but that's a really good movie too.
Y Tu Mamá También, so good. Oh my God, hot, sexy. Also, like a metaphor for like Mexico's like it's about politics. It's so much more than that. Watch Children of Men. Watch the third Harry Potter
about,
that he directed.
Masculinity?
Yeah, it's about masculinity and about like a political turmoil. It's like, yeah, he obviously is a man who's able to look at himself.
Yeah, be introspective, talk about societal issues that are greater than one individual, but represent them through individuals. I think that's really cool.
Oh my God. Okay,
I think because you've mentioned it so much, we should just quickly talk about Bohemian Rhapsody.
Oh my God.
Okay, you obviously already know our feelings.
It's because we watched it last night. I can't stop.
So we stopped it an hour and a half in.
No, not an hour. Oh, an hour and a half in. There was like an hour left.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair to say. People might get mad about that because apparently the Live Aid concert at the end is so fun to watch, but they even got that wrong.
What happened to me is I thought watching it, and this is exactly what we did, I was like, I would way rather just watch actual clips of Freddie Mercury in interviews and performing right now.
Yeah, which we
did after. Because that's effectively what this movie is. There's no real cohesive story. Not to mention, I looked it up, and half of the things in the movie are not even accurate portrayals of what happened, which is frustrating to a lot of people. But I was just like, it all felt so disjointed. I was like,
I
what?
thought we downloaded the wrong version. I was like, okay, we downloaded this movie. Don't come for us, Canadian government. That reminds me of like
one time, off topic, we were watching, you were like, there's this clip of like Aladdin the musical on YouTube, and we started watching it, and we were like, this is really bad. Like, how do people love this? It's gone to Broadway. That is so weird. And then I was like, this can't be it. It's so bad. It turns out it was like a performance at Disneyland for children. Anyway, that reminded me of Bohemian Rhapsody.
Where we're like, Bohemian Rhapsody was a Disneyland live attraction, like
that's a
park
perfect
version
analogy.
Of a movie.
It's like it gets the people in, just gives you a bit of feel good here, a bit of one liner here.
It was so
but no
bad.
Substance.
Speaking of show don't tell, tell don't show.
Yeah.
Like it was like they would like there's that one moment where the dad's like, well, when I sent you away to try and make you turn into a real man. It's like, what?
Yeah,
like,
and then moments later, like he gets the news that he's like gotten on the radio or some record company wants them, and it's like, okay, this is like a little on the nose.
It was so bad, and like it's crazy to me that so many people like it. It made so much money, and I was just like, I'm like, what's?
I think there's the Queen effect in there because like Queen and Freddie Mercury are just so iconic, and it is nice to see it represented, and it is an interesting story. The music is amazing because it's literally Freddie Mercury and Queen, so there's those levels to it that can be enjoyable.
Okay, but then on top of all of this, it's directed by Bryan Singer, who left like 3 weeks before it ended. Mostly directed by Bryan Singer. So then I just started like reading all the articles about his allegations. He's a literal rapist, and like, it's like, okay, there's not only is this movie just like bad when you watch it, it's boring and it's a slog and it's like poorly done, and it's like also like directed by a literally like evil person who, and it's just, anyways, I just can't believe.
Yeah, I would say unless you're obsessed with Queen, skip it. I really love Queen, but I still was just like, that's why I would way rather just turn on
one
YouTube
point
and
they
watch.
Like show up somewhere at a building, and I'm like, huh, that's weird. What building is this? And the guy gets out and goes, a recording studio?
Yeah,
and it's like, okay, yeah, that's telling, not showing. It's like, okay, why are
and just
you...
something about it kept jumping around, and like apparently the story of how he joined Queen is just fully fabricated.
And his mouthpiece, I'm sorry, that's the whole time I'm like, you're, what's his name, Rami Malek?
Yeah.
With a mouthpiece. Like, I'm not believing that you're Freddie Mercury because the whole time you're trying to push it back in your mouth.
So it was over the top. And yeah, usually when someone does that to their body or face, it's supposed to be so part of them that you don't even notice it.
You have millions of dollars.
But all I could think about the whole time was like, this is Rami Malek dressed up in like a crazy over the top mouthpiece. It didn't work.
And they just said, like, they just were like, oh, gay people just stare at each other with eyes. Like, it's like they'd be like,
yeah, there was no context or subtleness to the gay interaction. And I did look it up after, and it is true that he loved his like wife that I don't know if they were married, sorry, but like Mary Austin, I think her name was. Like, he always considered her his best friend. There was a moment during the film where I was like, why are they focusing on his love with this female? But he did always feel attached to her. But it was so straight-washed,
even though it was directed by a gay rapist. Okay,
anyway,
wow. I
would give it a 1 out of 10.
Yeah,
honestly.
I mean, I didn't finish it, so I don't know if I can like fairly assess
That's
it. But
true.
I don't usually not finish movies. I was
Me
like,
either.
this is the
I can't
worst.
remember the last movie we didn't finish. What do you want to do next? Black Klansman could be one.
Oh, that's a weird movie.
Yeah, I have mixed feelings about this. I was really into it. Like, I loved watching it. And I feel like the premise and the setup was great, but the final execution, I think, fell apart.
They created such cool tension. It was such an interesting plot. Like, Spike Lee has a cool way of filming that I actually was like, okay, this is like different and interesting. And I actually started to think this is awesome that this has been propped up and lots of people are seeing this movie. But the tension was great, and then it just sort of like...
It's like they didn't take advantage of all this. Like, there's literally like terrifying moments where you're like scared they're going to get caught, scared they're going to be like found out. On screen, people being like, wait, is that not the cop that busted me once? That he's a spy. And then nothing happens to it. So you feel tension, but then there's no actual release. It just like fizzles and goes away.
The one thing, though, that's really interesting is in the last 5 minutes, it becomes a movie that's actually literally being like, Donald Trump is a white supremacist.
Yeah.
And I think that is true. And so therefore, I think that in that context, I'm like, okay, this
At
movie
the end, you're
was,
like, whoa,
Yeah.
this was built for this part.
Which I think is like, obviously, if you're going to have the platform to make movies, it's like really cool if you have a strong political stance. But up until that point, as a movie, I was like, there's, again, the same thing with Bohemian Rhapsody. I'm like, are we watching the right version? Like, are parts edited out? Because like, it's literally confusing. And when I think about directors of movies and editing, it's like, okay, whoever directed both of these movies, I don't think it can be their masterpiece, unlike Roma, because I'm like, there's actually moments where I'm like, that actually just doesn't really make sense. The whole plot about them being two people and using the phone, it's like, wait, you would just be like,
So basically in this
the
film,
plot.
like they're pretending to be someone who's interested to be a Klansman, but because the main protagonist is black, they need another white guy to actually go to the events and pretend to be him. But it's like they're so worried about their voices being
like,
different.
why wouldn't he just pick up the phone and
It's
tell
like
the other
then
guy?
the white guy should just be the one on the phone as well.
Yeah.
It's very strange that, and then that creates tension because like they're gonna get caught, but then you're like, why?
Someone would have had a meeting like,
so complicated.
buddy, I think I have a simple solution to this.
Yeah.
Like, why don't you just like
you can
direct
still be part of the
this?
investigation. Just like, why doesn't the same person play
Pick
the
up
character?
the phone. Yeah.
But I mean, weird.
It was really fun to watch like white supremacists literally get like killed.
It was a good,
and like just like
it was satisfying in that
embarrassed.
sense.
Yeah, like and I really liked that it actually had a point
And it was
that
unique.
stuck
It was
to.
a cool storyline.
Yeah.
I was into it, but felt that,
like better than A Star Is Born and better than Bohemian Rhapsody.
Oh yeah, I think so for sure.
Okay, now another. In my
This is
opinion,
our final one, right? Because we haven't
masterpiece.
watched
The Favorite was so good.
So I also just watched The Favorite. You watched it a while
and you didn't
ago.
like The Lobster, this director's other movie, which I loved.
Correct.
So you were
I
nervous
thought
going
it was
in.
a cool concept, The Lobster, but once they killed a dog in it, and any movie that kills a dog on screen is banished for me.
Fair enough.
That's unacceptable. It's just like A Star Is Born. They used a dog inappropriately. In that movie, they fucking killed one. Anyway, this movie was actually so good.
The Favorite.
The
was so
Favorite.
good. It's hilarious.
It's so well
interesting.
executed. The costumes, the set, the acting, the every level of
The
it.
concept.
Yeah, like
and it's true story. Like I embellished
which blew
a bit,
my mind. I
but
only knew that because you had told me going.
I was
into
like,
it.
"There's no way this is true." Then I Wikipedia'd after, and I was like, "Genius!"
Like,
to make this
so
so thrilling
good.
and hilarious, and I loved that movie.
I think it was really unique. Yeah, just something about it really stood out to me. It was enjoyable. It was funny. It was
acting
serious.
incredible.
It was scary. Like,
queer.
Yeah, like I don't know what else to say about this movie other than like I
Go
think
see it. Form your own
The
opinions.
Favorite and Roma to me are like those movies that are like it just stands out as such a unique film that was so well executed, and I don't really have. I'm sure if I watched many times, I might have minor criticisms here and there, but overall, like really enjoyable.
And now let's just get into the two we didn't say. Okay, like Green Book, literally, like I do not want to see this movie. I heard it's so
Trash. No, I can't say that 'cause I
problematic
watched it.
and weird and just whatever. And Vice, even it's like The Big Short, like the director of The Big Short, and I know we probably should have watched them for the whole scope of things, but when I've read enough about them and hear that they're bad, like I even forced myself to watch Bohemian Rhapsody, and I'm like, damn it, why did I waste my hour and a half? That whatever, you can say what you want about those movies, but
That one's especially weird though because the audience versus critic reaction has been like the audiences loved it, but critics hated it.
because people love Queen. Are you talking about Bohemian Rhapsody?
Yeah, that's right. But that was what threw me off because there was good ratings about it. But whereas anyway,
Okay, so there's only two more things I want to say.
Okay.
So the one thing I want to say is this idea about how everyone just needs to realize that these movies, they are all so queer. and not one queer person played a it's like, it is insane to me that it's 2019. Why can we not do this? Okay, Mahershala Ali in Green Book is a queer person. Okay, so he's straight. The Favorite, all three of them are essentially queer. All three straight. Okay, Bohemian Rhapsody, queer. It's just like, it's actually kind of, at this point, I'm just like, okay, this is ridiculous.
Like, why can't a single queer actor be hired?
I know. And it's just, I don't know. It really bothers me. But then on top of that, I just want to talk about one other thing, which is a movie called Can You Ever Forgive Me, which wasn't nominated for Best Picture or for Best Director, but in my opinion was incredible. And it's the one with Melissa McCarthy and her friend, and she's nominated. So it's like in the Oscar world right now. So this movie's so good. It's so simple. Also queer. Again, Melissa McCarthy, not queer, plays a lesbian. Here we go again. But the director of this movie, it's such a simple, beautiful, hilarious, good movie, is a woman, and she is left out of the Best Director category this year. And to think that some of these other people are in these Best Director, like,
having
even
watched these films,
even like Spike Lee, I'm like, this isn't his like masterpiece or whatever. Like, I'm just like, this is weird. There's this other movie like that just randomly gets a Best Director nod that's like not even in Best Picture. I'm like, why? Hollywood is so messed up. I'm like, this is, in my opinion, of all the movies that I saw other than Roma and The Favorite, like the best directed movie, because it's like, oh, this script is simple, but it's because of the way that it was made and executed that it's so good. And yeah, now it's just all men who are in the Best Director category. So
that is frustrating. I want to say for the end of this segment, it's been longer than normal, but let's do one final thing. Who do you want to win? Who do you think will win?
I want Roma to win. And like in some like sad, twisted way, I think like because of the world, like Green Book's gonna win or something.
I guess it's hard because we haven't seen those. Do you think so?
Well, because when I think about the Oscars, I know I'm defending in the debate that they should still exist. But when you think about the Oscars, it's all political and it's all like they have so many industry insiders. But actually, you know what? I'm going to say
Roma. Think of the winner?
I'm going to say I think Roma's going to win.
Yeah. I think so too, but that'll be interesting. Do you think because it was on Netflix, it might get some docked marks from people?
Oh, true. Because that's like what I mean. There's so many other things behind, but I'm gonna say Roma across the board.
Okay. This is so hard. Yeah, for me, it's between The Favorite and Roma, and I could go either way. And I just saw The Favorite, so I feel like it's fresh in my mind. Like, I kind of want The Favorite to win, but I also love Roma so much. I can't choose. And I just have this
Say which one you want and which one you think. That's what you have to say.
Okay, I want Roma to win.
Okay.
No. Bohemian Rhapsody can't. There's part of me that thinks it's going to win. No,
I will flip my TV over. Well, actually,
I think, yeah. Okay, I'm going to pick the same as you. I think Roma's going to win.
Okay, good. Well, that'll be a nice night for cinema.